Hey guys, today we're going to be exploring the differences between aerosol can spray finishes and paint can finishes sprayed out of an Airless. Now there's a lot of bad products out there that you're never going to get a good result on. When it comes to painting, it's very important that you stick with high quality finishes that come with strong recommendations and then try them out for yourself in small batches to see if they work for you. Now it's very uncommon that you're going to get the same products for aerosol cans that you are with actual cans of paint that you spray out of an Airless. Even if they're with the same label, they have a different formula. They have a lot less solids and a lot more fluids, meaning they're a lot thinner when they come out of an aerosol can. Even if it has the same brand or the same label look, it's not the same product. So I know we're kind of testing apples to oranges, but that's the way it is with aerosols versus paint cans. Now let me start by answering a few questions that I think are important, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there about canned paint out of an Airless or an HVLP versus aerosols. It's very common knowledge that aerosols suck and they're not very good and you can't get a good finish on it. And that's not true at all. You can actually get a great finish just at the exact same level as you can with these things spraying out of an Airless. There's different steps that you have to take and different preparations you got to do to the wood, but you can get a great finish with aerosols. So if you're a hobbyist and you have a project that you want to finish and you're considering, should I go and learn how to spray out an Airless with the paint cans, or should I just go and get some aerosol cans? 100% I would recommend for you to go and get aerosol cans and even start off with these before you go graduate into Airless spraying through cans. It's not a cheap upgrade to go into a decent Airless sprayer that's going to give you good results. And high quality paints like these aren't cheap either. These are about 50 bucks a can. So after you get done priming your Airless spray pump with maybe a quart of material just lost, and by the time you get the thing dialed in, you might not be saving money at all by going Airless, and you could get a great finish just spraying out of cans. The limiting factor of the spray cans is actually the fan pattern. With a small fan pattern in aerosol cans, you're going to run into difficulties when you're doing very large surfaces. So if you have a huge cabinet door or an exposed side of a cabinet, or you got a tabletop, you're going to have difficulties with aerosols. That's when you might need to legitimately consider going to an Airless if you have huge amounts of surface and if you're going to be doing a whole lot of it. But even me as a pro, I don't just whip out the Airless sprayer every time I can. I go with aerosol cans if I'm doing 1 or 2 cabinets usually. I only whip out the Airless with these big cans if I'm going to be doing a lot of product. So for this project that I'm going to be spraying with the Airless, this is normally something I would do with aerosols. Now the wooden surface that we're going to be spraying is actually called Medex. Now I did a video a little bit earlier about super refined MDF and does it suck? And spoiler alert, no, super refined MDF does not suck. It's a great product. And a lot of the times it can be just as durable as hardwoods. Now Medex, what we're using today, is a water resistant super refined MDF. Super refined meaning the edges here are going to be able to be sprayed and finished just like the faces. And this stuff is going to give us a surface quality once painted that's as good as any hard maple or a beech. And without further ado, let's get into the spraying. First rule of aerosols, shake it for longer than you think you need to. Now on MDF products, the edges are always a little bit more thirstier even if they're super refined. So what I want to do is I want to coat the edges a couple of times before I come and coat the top surface. And in general, you always want to do the corners or the edges first and then come back and do the flat surfaces last. Do the hardest things first, the easiest things last. The edges are harder and the top is easier. Now I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and while we're letting this dry, we're going to jump over to the Airless. Okay, the edges are looking great now. So now we're going to come over the top surface. This is a great primer, so it's okay to lay it on heavier in some spots. If it wasn't, then we might have to do another spray pattern. But since it's a good one, it's okay to get a little heavier. Then we're just going to crisscross, even though we're going to get heavier spots where I crisscross. So that's okay with this primer. Yeah, always check it. Never just trust it's going to be right. And you have to check it in the reflection. You got to find light reflecting off it and make sure it all looks the same. Yeah, let's take a look at this. You can see a little bit of that reflection right there. There we go. You can see that reflection of my my phone light here, and that reflection looks consistent for the most part. So we got a couple little spots there. It looks like when I was putting this together, I must have dinged it. So we got a couple little spots there that I might have to fill. So we'll see if they can be sanded out. And over here, I had an issue with my spraying, so I'm gonna have to sand those out. Anything that doesn't look consistent in the reflection, you have to sand it out and make it look perfect, or else it'll stay there. Over here, there's gonna be very little sanding work because this all looks consistent. Reflection looks consistent, so we should be good on that. Okay, so we've had some time to let the finishes dry, and now we're gonna be ready to sand. Okay, I think this feels pretty good. I think this is going to be good enough to top coat, so we're just going to roll with it. It's looking like the edges are filling out decently, actually. Now the face. Now I always want to check the reflection, because the reflection of the light is going to show me how flat my finish is. Alright, I'm going to be doing the same thing here with the Sticks product. And I do have an electrical sander that I can use instead of this that works well on this. But since we're doing a tutorial, I'll go ahead and use this. Which is a sanding block, and this is the way it's always been done, and it's a good way to do it. So I'll show you that it can be done with this efficiently. Okay, always do a test. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Rookie move, I touched the line onto the wood, so that's not good. I gotta be really careful that I don't let the line hit the top once I spray it. Okay, do the insides first, always, and then I gotta get this, I already did the side, yeah. Okay, now I don't want to get the finishes too heavy in one spot. So we're sprayed on the sides all over, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do long sections. We come back. I'm always checking in the reflection, see how I'm doing, see if it looks good. I'm happy with that so far. I'm not wearing a mask because I'm just doing one and I want to talk to you through it. But if I'm doing a lot of these, I'm absolutely wearing a mask. And most important thing about finishing is you always check your work in the reflection. You can't see how your paint's doing without the reflection. So I'm looking at the reflection of my upper lights here on my ceiling to see how this finish is laying down. And I'm pretty happy with this. I think, except maybe there, let me see. Okay, that looks good. The reflection looks the same all over. Let's get a close-up view of this reflection here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Alright, there we go. So we see the reflection there, and I want to get the, there we go. We got that light coming on. So we can see that reflection is consistent all over this thing. That's what you're looking for. And also, these little orange peels in the paint, that should even out as we go. Those are actually very small orange peels, believe it or not. If they were bigger, then we're going to have a leveling issue. But those are actually small enough orange peels that with 2 coats, that should level out really, really nice. Checking the reflection all over. So far it's looking great. I'm pretty happy with this. So let's take a look at our reflection here. Very consistent. Okay, so here we are with our piece of Med-X that was painted with the aerosol can. And we're going to be using the reflection to see the quality of our finish. And to me, this looks perfect. This is a 10 out of 10. A little bit of my fingerprint there. Don't mind that. So we're using that reflection to see the quality of that finish. And the edges sealed really nicely. Yeah, we're able to get that sealed with the shellac. And now it needs to cure a little bit more when you got these little spots coming out when you touch it. That means that it wants to cure a little bit more. It's still cured enough to the touch, but I gotta be gentle. So that is with an aerosol can, and it is a 10 out of 10. Perfect finish with an aerosol. It's an oil base, so this is going to be pretty resistant to the elements as well. With a shellac undercoat and a Krylon top coat. Beautiful. All right, so now we're here to our frame we sprayed with the Airless. We're gonna turn around and get some reflection going here. Now we can see we got a good reflection going. Let's see if we can use our lamp here. Oh, you can barely see it. Now it needs to cure a little bit more, so we have a tiny bit of orange peel. We see no sanding marks whatsoever from that 150 grit. Let's see if we can turn this baby a little bit and get a good angle coming here on the reflection. Looks good. Now this is, I would say, if we can get the right angle on here and see, there's just a tiny bit of orange peel on this right now. But as it cures, it's not fully cured, and that should sit just a little bit flatter. But this is like a 9.5 out of 10. So both finishes came out great. Well, there you have it. We put our 2 products to the test. Well, really our 4 products. 2 of them sprayed out of an aerosol can and 2 of them sprayed out of an airless sprayer. And I gotta say, they're pretty much the same. So if anyone is going to give you crap about using an aerosol can, they just haven't found a good one that works really well yet. Shellac does work as a good undercoater, but it's a little slow and you got to make sure it's fully cured. The best one is the one that I posted earlier, and I'll post another picture of that, and that's the one that I recommend. And you can actually get that and the Krylon Fusion both at Walmart, so they're not even very expensive ones. Also, undercoaters that work, or standing sealers that work out of an aerosol are Deft or Mohawk. Those are all great standing sealers that you can use as well. I hope this helps you make your decision if you're deciding how you want to finish your project, whether it be through an airless. And HVOP is similar to an airless, except it just deals with finer finishes. Or if you want to just stick with an aerosol can. Me as a pro, I stick with an aerosol can unless I'm doing a large job. Or if I have to get a specific color match, then I'll go with an airless, even if it's a small project, because I can't get exact color matched aerosol cans. But if I'm not doing a big job, or if I'm just doing, one cabinet, a couple of doors, it's aerosols. And it's a cost-effective, fast way to do it that I really don't have to do a lot of cleanup or setup time to do. And if you find the right products, they'll work great for you. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope that you have a great day.